New Sprint Ride Option Podcast live. Andrew Pasquini, Jason Aponte. It's Cardinals week as the Niners look to go 3-0. But before we do, Jason Aponte, hit that music.
Burp. Burp, 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 burp. Burp.
We are live. New episode Sprint Ride Option Podcast. As I said at the top, I'm Andrew Pasquini, joined as always by Jason Aponte. And Jason, how we always start these podcasts. How you doing on this lovely Friday? We haven't done a Friday evening show in a hot minute, but a Friday evening. How you doing today?
It'd be a lot better if George Springer wasn't destroying my life, man. I really want him arrested for his crimes against the New York Yankees, and I feel like nobody's talking about that. And, him, Freddie Freeman, why haven't they been arrested and interrogated for what they've done? I just feel like they're skating by and no one's talking about the real issues here.
Well, what's electric about having a baseball player hurt your team so much is a situation where it's the final game you'll ever face them, like the Giants have tonight against Clayton Kershaw. Clayton Kershaw has been a pain in my side for 15 years now. And tonight's it. And you could watch it all on Apple TV if you pay good money, which I don't have. So I'm not why Clayton Kershaw can't hurt me tonight, pal. Clayton Kershaw can't hurt me.
I do, but you know what? In the interest of you watching the game, I can send you a stream in which or a link so you can watch the game. But I do have Apple TV because the young lady sitting next to me is a huge Peanuts fan, and it can't let it fly by.
They got all that stuff, but yeah, no. One last time with Clayton Kershaw hurt, and the Giants are dead. They're 3 games out with 9 to go. They're dead.
It's a shame. I was with you guys.
Fine. It was fun. We had a fun few weeks there. If only Bob Melvin didn't fall asleep at the wheel from like June to August, relatively important months for a baseball season. But we got the 2 weeks in September, which were pretty fun. But now they're dead, and it happens. But hey, I have the Niners to make me feel better right now. So that's all that my dad said growing up, because the Giants weren't particularly good in my childhood, right? They didn't get good until 2010. They won a few World Series. Hey, pretty cool. But my dad always taught me, the Giants are there to be competitive until the Niners start. And that's what the Giants kind of did this year. As I said, the summer wasn't very fun, but they were in a playoff race until the Niners kicked off, and now the Niners have started, and we're deep into the season. So,
yeah, look, I've been so locked in on football. The intricacies, the X's and O's. I feel like this is going to be our best preview of the season, and we still haven't even played our best podcasting ball yet.
I like that a lot, man. We're getting in there. We got through the preseason. Now we're getting to regular season shape. Jason, I gotta ask. I consciously have to ask because you mentioned it on this podcast. You've mentioned it in the group chat. What the hell is Brandon Staley running out there in New Orleans to stop these Arizona Cardinals?
It's funny. It's a lot of the stuff that he kind of lifted from Mike McDonald, and it's like it's almost cover zero, but it's sent in a way where it's still dropping somebody from the middle back out to take away the middle of the field. It was actually really genius stuff, and I think what I took away from that game plan, which funny enough, our folder is so unorganized when it comes to the film that we get. Like I literally clicked on Saints versus Cardinals, and it was Seahawks 49ers, and I was like, all right, maybe I clicked the wrong button, and I clicked it again, and I was just like, I don't want to watch this game again. Like I've understood that. No, but it almost looks like cover zero. You see a bunch of stuff, but the goal is, and what they did very well was pressure Kyler, confuse him, make him read the field. That's what Brandon Staley was doing well in that game. Just got to limit those runs, and we're going to talk about that and how the 49ers can do it, because apparently they have a plan.
Hey, we'll talk about that definitely, Jason. But first, it wouldn't be a 49ers podcast if we didn't talk injury report. Let's talk about the first big one. There's a couple big ones, unfortunately, just kind of how it works with the Niners. Brock Purdy limited in practice with the left shoulder toe injury. If you want a good explanation of what turf toe is, Jason Kelsey gave a very good one on their podcast today. He showed his toe and everything. I'm not going to do that. I don't give out free toes, Jason Aponte.
Hey, man, what the hell is he doing over there?
Hey, he's showing what turf toe is, man. But Brock Purdy sounds like he is not going to play on Sunday. It sounds like they're still kind of holding out hope. Sounds like it's going to be another McCorkle-Jones start for the 49ers. And honestly, man, I don't think I thought I'd say this. I'm not bad with it. I thought Mac Jones ran the offense well last week against New Orleans. There's nothing about this Saints defense outside of Budda Baker that necessarily makes me more nervous than the Saints defense per se. Maybe you disagree with me on that.
I do.
But I feel good about Mac Jones going into Sunday, Jason. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, absolutely. And I've been planning for this the entire week. I think what 49er fans should have been taking away from the fact that Brock Purdy was able to practice in a limited fashion these 3 days is that he's closer to coming back than ever. Mm-hmm. So it doesn't have to be this week. I think absolutely the San Francisco 49ers can beat the Arizona Cardinals with Mac Jones with this passing attack. And we'll get into the specifics of that, but it just means that Jacksonville, like if you want to go off vibes, here's what you do. And this is me if I was Kyle Shanahan. Here's the vibes. You go, you win the home opener, then you get Mac Jones ready for his revenge game against Jacksonville. Thursday Night Football, short week, unleash Brock Purdy on the Los Angeles Rams, and we're ready to roll here. So I think Mac Jones can absolutely win this game, and I have a few good reasons why actually.
The other big injury update is Jawan Jennings. Sounds like he's going to be closer to a game time decision. So another game with a potential without a weapon. Maybe a little optimistic of me, but I feel pretty good about where Ricky Pearsall is. And Kendrick Bourne looked good in his limited, number of targets last week. So Jawan Jennings is a huge player for this offense, obviously, especially with the injuries already. But we'll see. Obviously, he seemed to tweak the shoulder a little bit again against the Saints. He had a play where he kind of hit the ground hard, looked like he came up slow, and then he had the game-winning score in the fourth quarter. So we'll see. He is a tough player. He's hard to take out of games. So we'll see what he looks like. But Jason Aponte, allow me to be the first to formally introduce Connor Colby to the San Francisco 49ers, because you're not a real 49er until you pick up a random injury at practice. And that's just what he did. Limited in practice today with a groin injury. He is questionable to go on Sunday against the Arizona Cardinals. I think he'll go if he was limited today, and it's questionable. I think he's good to go. But who is left guard number 3 if Connor Colby does not go, Jason Aponte?
It sounds like it's either Drew Moss or Nick Zakelj. God help us all. I have to ask a question, and I know I'm asking the air, and it feels rhetorical. Connor Colby literally was the model of health in college. Never missed a game, never missed a snap, anything like that. All of a sudden, in practice, groin injury. Who, and pardon my French, get the kids out of the room, who the fuck did we piss off? Like, seriously, like, I really want to know, what did we do? At Levi's, when they built Levi's, was there an Indian burial ground there and they just moved the stones and left the bodies? Like, this doesn't make any sense. Now, if Kobe plays, then whatever, rant over. But Drew Moss, Nick Zakelj, he said somebody else might be involved and can't even be Spencer Burford at this point. Like, you just can't make this up. Connor Colby literally didn't miss a snap in college. He played like every single game. And all of a sudden now, he might not play. I don't even know what to say, man. I don't want to jump out the window or anything like that. But my God, all of the excitement we had about Connor Colby, the offensive line stabilizes itself when he leaves the game. Not that Ben Bartch played bad, but my God, man, a groin injury the day before? Like, what the hell is going on? So we'll see if he plays. But I think you can be optimistic about Drew Moss. You just don't know what he's going to be. I'm not optimistic about Nick Zakelj playing. So I don't know, man. Like, it's just, you already lost Bartch and he's on IR. Now this happens, and then we could get the Nick Zakelj experience. God help us all, but we'll see. And you know what's crazy? That's my biggest concern with this Arizona defense, is how good their fucking defensive line is.
Yeah. You
need this offensive line to step up. It's not the secondary. It's not the play caller. It's this defensive line, and I have many stats on that. So, yeah, man, it's just, what the hell, man, I guess is the end of the rant.
What the hell? No, I almost think it's the jerseys that it has to be something, right? Because it's just like every week it's like a new player randomly pops up on the injured list because of practice, and it is so strange. I like to meme the static stretching thing, but like, is it because they don't stretch properly? Like, what is it? And it seems like it happens every week. It's Connor Colby's turn this week, and you mentioned that is a big injury, not just because of the Arizona defensive line, but like, they're down to their third left guard, plain and simple. That's just what it is. So you need Connor Colby to be healthy, not just because of his game against New Orleans, but because he's your second left guard. Like you can't. It is hard to survive in the NFL when you're down to the third at any position, whether it's left guard, quarterback. And unfortunately, Niner fans are pretty well familiar with being down to the third of a position, and so you want to avoid that. Other than that, Jason, the injury report looking pretty decent. Nick Bosa, he was resting. He popped up in the injury report. He's fine. Spencer Burford, he's ruled out. Not sure how much he would have played. Watkins ruled out as well, which could have been a good chance for him to play if Jennings didn't go. But he's out. But other than that, Niners looking healthy. On the other side of the ball, however, Arizona.
Hold on.
Oh, go ahead.
We have to address the Jordan Watkins thing. This is like a 4-week injury.
Yeah, that's true.
It's done. Redshirt season, like it's done. He's not going to run over Brandon Ayuk, Demarcus Robinson, Ricky Pearsall, Juwan Jennings, Kendrick Bourne. He's not going to run. The only way that he would be up on game days is if he's as a returner. But he's got no shot this season. This is a complete redshirt season. That's it. And the only real way, and knock on wood, I might as well not even put this into the world. The only way that he would actually get on the field is if one of these wide receivers gets hurt. But Jordan Watkins, we hardly knew you. Redshirt season. We'll see you next season, buddy.
Let's move on to the Arizona injury report, and their secondary is pretty injured. I'm a little bummed that it doesn't sound like Will Johnson's going to play. He's a guy I was high on the Niners taking at 11.
You're bummed?
Yeah, I like watching guys I liked in college. I like college players to be good that I liked, because then in 3 years when they signed with a new team, I could be like, well, I was in on him, Jason Aponte. But no, he is
good. We don't need that for the 49ers.
That's true.
We were right. Like, we wanted Will Johnson, and everybody was like, hey, his injuries. Well, if they would have drafted him or Josh Simmons, they might be in a good spot. But hey, look, Michael Williams is really good.
Michael Williams is really good. I like Michael Williams. But Will Johnson, he's doubtful with a groin injury. Max Melton, questionable with a knee injury. And honestly, I'm okay with him playing. It felt like every time I heard Max Melton's name in that Carolina game, it wasn't something good. So that would be nice for the Niners to have. On the other side of the ball, however, they're pretty hurt. Will Hernandez questionable with a knee injury. Paris Johnson Jr. questionable with a knee injury. Those are two slots on the offensive line, so that could be huge, especially for a Niners defensive line that is heating up. I mean, Mike, you saw how good Michael Williams was, Nick Bosa, Bryce Huff. The one that Calais Campbell rests, he's going to be healthy, and we'll talk about the defensive line for the Cardinals here in a second. But I think that secondary is going to be the big one. Will Johnson probably not going to play. Max Melton questionable. Losing your two starting cornerbacks, never a good thing, especially for a team like Arizona, whose defense is, dare I say, up and down. I haven't been particularly, I've watched a little bit of them, obviously, watching the Saints game, watched the game last week against the Panthers, and nothing's really stood out to me other than, I totally forgot his name. What's this? Budda Baker. There we go. Other than Budda Baker, he's still doing his thing. I like Calais Campbell in his advanced age. I think he is a player that really solidifies things. I think he would have been a player the Niners could have used just to have a solid player in the middle of the defensive line. But in terms of injuries for Arizona, Jason, I think the obvious one is the cornerbacks are the big one here.
If you want to talk about snake bit, like how I did that, Arizona, Sean Murphy-Bunting, Will Johnson, Garrett Williams, Max Melton. This secondary is on their 5th, 6th, and 7th guys. Mm-hmm. So, my big brain starts to get to thinking, who's going to have a big game? And it's Ricky Pearsall. Welcome to Ricky Pearsall week. And enjoy, because this is the week where he goes nuts. Yep. 8 catches, all 8 for first downs, 17.5 A-dot, 10th, well, now 12th after Thursday Night Football, 12th in the league in receiving yards. Huge Ricky Pearsall game. I'm going to have a blast watching this. When you look at the way that the Cardinals attack, they don't attack with blitzes. They attack and they play coverage, zone coverage on the back end. Big Ricky Pearsall week, as long as the 49ers can pass protect, which is the biggest concern. But if Matt can get the ball out, this is a huge Ricky Pearsall week, man. Just book it. I mean, I'm not even really jumping out the window here.
Yeah, and this is an Arizona defense that's allowed the second most first downs already. I feel like there's a joke I'm missing here with this comment.
No, she's joking.
Yeah. Am I missing the joke? What's the joke?
I mean, no. The joke is that everybody has already run with the narrative that was so predictable that anyone could have seen coming. that Mac Jones was going to play well in New Orleans, and
Yeah.
why did you pay Brock
There we
Purdy?
go. I
You
got it.
know,
I got
so
it.
yeah.
I got the connection. But the Arizona defense is allowed 23 and a half first downs per game through the first 2 weeks. They haven't faced any particularly special offenses with New Orleans and Carolina. This is really their first legitimate option. Um, this is their first legitimate offense they're going to face. I know it's Mac Jones instead of Brock Purdy, but you saw just how good the Niners offense could be against uh, the Saints defense. I mean, I mentioned it last week on the instant reaction. I felt Mac Jones looked better against the Saints defense than Kyler Murray ever did against the Saints defense in week one. I think this is a mismatch for the Arizona defense. I want to hear what you have to say about the pass rush though, or the defensive line, because there are spots on that defensive line that are very talented. I mentioned Calais Campbell already, Josh Sweat on the outside. So what did you see with the defensive line that maybe I wasn't seeing? Because I just watched the game video instead of the all 22. So what were you seeing?
So, the way that the defensive line is made up, it's two defensive interior guys, Dalvin Tomlinson and Calais Campbell, and it's a bunch of edges. Like they literally, it's two, and then when they come into five-man fronts, it's all edges. So Josh Sweat, Baron Browning, Zaven Collins. So the leaders and pressures for this team, Baron Browning 10, Josh Sweat 9. They both have a sack apiece. Calais Campbell and Dalvin Tomlinson, 4 pressures for Campbell, 3 for Tomlinson. What is interesting is they're not a blitzing team, like, at all. They don't blitz at all. So when you look at the way that they blitz, they're 31st in the league in blitz rate, which is 14.2%. But their blitz EPA, meaning defensive EPA, and remember, defensive you want negative,
Yeah.
offensive you want positive, is 4th in the league at minus 0.33. While the rate is low, the effectiveness is there. So they're picking their spots well, right? And given the way that the 49ers have been able to do what they've been able to do against non-blitzes, they're 5th in the league in non-blitz EPA, 0.1111. That's very good on offense.
Okay.
But when the Arizona defense doesn't blitz, their EPA is 0.07, which is the 7th worst in the NFL. So this is a back and forth, like, kind of idea. It's going to boil down to the top, the pass protection, and if you can stop them and if you can hold them off, everything will be open on the back end, given the fact that even if Will Johnson and Max Melton was healthy and Garrett Williams was healthy and Sean Murphy Bunting was healthy, the 49ers still would be able to throw the football. Now you knock those guys off, and now it's an absolute certainty. I wouldn't be shocked if the 49ers open the game throwing the football as opposed to running it, because of the difficulty they've been having against two high shells, which that's all the Cardinals run, is all zone, and they bring up the guys and then they send them down. That's what Budda Baker is really good at, is playing closer to the line and coming down in run fits. So the 49ers are going to be in a spot where 49er fans are going to watch the opening of this game, similarly to the Saints game, where they're throwing the football and you're saying, what the hell are you doing? But what you're doing is you're backing off the Cardinals so you can run the football. And I feel like the 49ers offense is this close to breaking out. I do think it happens this week, but it's going to happen on the back of the aerial attack with Mac Jones, Ricky Pearsall, and those guys.
So you mentioned those pressure numbers, and Jason, how concerning is that for you with Mac the Statue Jones not being able to move as well in the? Is that something that really you think can flip this game over? Because I do think, like, in a vacuum, Mac is fine enough, but we saw his inability to move in the pocket, kind of have that feel in the pocket. How much does that change if maybe Arizona starts to blitz a little more, knowing that instead of Brock Purdy, who can get out of there and make things happen with his legs, and now it's Mac Jones standing stationary in there, so Calais Campbell or Browning or guys like that can get after him?
So for the most part, the way that you're going to be able to blitz is in man. If
Okay.
you blitz while it's zone, you have to be able to throw that football where they're coming from, because that's where the discrepancy is. And if you watch the tape in the first quarter, the 49ers threw the ball 3 times, 3 and out. Mac missed on an absolute easy, blitz pickup. So the blitz comes, and all he has to do is read the middle linebacker, and if the middle linebacker buzzes to the flat, which he did, then you've got an easy throw to Pearsall right over the middle. He panics, gets the ball out, and he throws it to the flat, and you miss, and then that's one of the 3 misses that you get there. But if you're going to blitz from man, that's when you're going to get picked apart. Like, I don't know if the Cardinals can shift their philosophy to, hey, we're just going to run cover one man, cover two man, and we're going to blitz from somewhere else, knowing that those guys are going to get their ass whipped on the back end because they don't have their better defenders. If they try to do it in with zone, then wherever it is, once you read and pre-diagnose, which that's what Kyle Juszczyk comes in, obviously running back and forth. That's when you're going to figure out
Yeah.
man and zone. But if you pre-diagnose zone and you see the blitz, throw the football where it's coming from. That's exactly how you're going to beat it. So the answers are there. The answers are in the play call if you ask Kyle Shanahan. It just is a matter of making the right decision and getting the ball out on time, Mac, because while he did a good job of that in New Orleans, the one time that he didn't, it went into a turnover, and you can bet that Arizona's pass rush is far better, on its own accord than the New Orleans Saints.
Well, what do you call it, Jason? Matchups make battles. What's your little saying?
Styles make fights.
Styles make fights, and that's kind of what this is, because you're talking about the front four, the front five, I guess, for Arizona in this case, and the Niners needing to pass the ball, and all of a sudden the back end of Arizona is completely in shambles because of injuries. So while the front five of Arizona could create issues like that, maybe Shanahan is seeing those. I mean, Shanahan should absolutely be seeing the injuries in the Arizona secondary and push the ball downfield a little bit, which we haven't seen quite yet. He's still kind of in that feeling out territory with Mac Jones. So I'm curious to see that. Before we jump to the defensive side of the ball for the 49ers and kind of your Brandon Staley conversation, I want to talk about the Niners versus Cardinals rivalry within itself. Jason, since Kyle Shanahan took over, the 49ers are 7-9 against the Arizona Cardinals. They lost the first four matchups. So if you want to throw away, because there's obviously, I think there's two distinct Kyle Shanahan eras within his Niner tenure. It's the pre-2019 years when the Niners are kind of this floundering franchise. And then it's the post first Super Bowl appearance into what we know the Niners are now. So if you throw those four games out, it's 7-5. If you look at since Kyler Murray has been drafted, it's a 3-3 record at home. I believe I finished with what was the number? I said 4-2 on the road. So that would be a 7-5 record against the Cardinals since Kyler Murray was drafted. And that sounds fine and all, but the Niners have really dominated the NFC West. They're 4-3 at home against Seattle, or Seattle's 4-3 against the Niners at home. But you take away the non-Russell Wilson years, because Russell Wilson was the boogeyman. He always beat the Niners no matter what. But since Russell Wilson's been gone, the Seahawks are 1-3 at San Francisco. The Rams are 2-4 against the Niners at Levi's Stadium. But what makes it interesting is since Kyler Murray has joined this league, the Cardinals are the only team in the NFC West not to win the division. The Niners have won it. The Seahawks have won it. The Rams have won it. The Cardinals have not, but the Niners have struggled. The Niners are 3-5 at home against the Cardinals since Shanahan took over. But the Niners also won four matchups from 2022 to 2023 in a row. But then they lost both matchups last year. I know a lot of people see the Cardinals as kind of the punching bag of this division because admittedly they are. They had a couple years where they were kind of up and down, but they haven't won the division. So where do these struggles come from? Because they've also been relatively close games as well. You remember last year, week 4, week 5 game where the Cardinals beat them by 1 point. They've been close games. So why do the Niners struggle against the Cardinals? And Jason, if you can say this without saying it's a divisional game, you never know, I'll give you $5.
Got it. Perfect. Thank you for giving me that qualifier, because that's what I was going to lead with. Look, it's realistically, there's no real one answer here. And especially because there's been multiple coaches that have been here during this time. And the Kyler Murray thing, you can throw that out as well, too, because Colt McCoy kicked the shit out of the 49ers, too, that 1 year in, and we forgot all about that. Yeah. I don't know what it is about that. And admittedly, there's obviously I'm making all the points about why this game matchup wise on both sides has advantages on one side, advantages on the other. Year to year, this changes, right? Yeah. These are all new players. Trey McBride's in his second year. Marvin Harrison, or in his third year. Like Marvin Harrison's in his second year. Like the teams change, the quarterbacks are different, but the results are always close. Now, I think the only game that really felt like it was like really out of hand, well, two of them, and it really got away from them at the end, was in 2023 when the 49ers were just railroading everybody. Like, it didn't matter who was. Yeah, so for even one of Jimmy's best games on Halloween in Arizona, That game, went down to the wire and
twenty-eight,
required
25.
and required Jimmy to, go ahead and manufacture a drive to end the game. So I don't have any real reason why different regimes, different players, all of these things stay the same. But it is one of those things where if we looked at any coach and we looked at any team and it didn't matter the years and we just like did career splits, you would see that all those games are close and it's always close. And it just, it's one of those things in the NFL where it's like it doesn't matter who's there, you're always prepared for a close game. And I will jump out the window right now and tell you that I believe this game is going to be very close again. So there's no rhyme or reason because players change, coaches change, but the result stays the same. And I did not say anything about the division, so perfect.
Your Venmo's open. I'll make sure to hit that. Or if somebody wants to donate $5 for me, let's do it. But no, Jason, let's talk about the Niners defense against Arizona, because again, that was the big thing you wanted to talk about with Brandon Staley and how he handled New Orleans, or how he handled the Cardinals in Week 1 in New Orleans. But can I throw some numbers at you really quick?
Sure.
I looked at Kyler Murray against the Niners defense with Saleh versus without Saleh, and it's kind of a nice even breakdown because he played 4 games in 2019 and 2020 against the Niners with Saleh. He's played in 4 games since because of the injuries. In the 4 games against Robert Saleh, Kyler Murray, 2019 and 2020, his average game was 8.5 rush attempts for 66 yards. 2 touchdowns in those 4 games. It's 34 rushes for 267 yards. In the 4 games since, he is down to 6 carries per game for 38 yards and only 1 touchdown in those 4 games. His first game after the Robert Saleh era, he had 7 carries for 1 yard. 3 of the 4 games against Saleh, he had 60 or more rushing yards. Only once since Saleh left has he had more than 50. And that was week 5 of last year, 7 rushes for 83 yards and 1 touchdown.
And remember, that 1 touchdown was like a 50-yard run.
Yes. So Robert Saleh, we know he has the issues with the mobile quarterbacks, but that's old Bob Saleh. This is new Bob Saleh. That was Robert Saleh. This is Bob Saleh now, right? So what do you think is the adjustment for Saleh against Kyler Murray this time to not prevent him from running? Because I firmly believe that if you can keep Kyler Murray in the pocket, he is a non-factor. Like he's a fine thrower. He's got, I would say this is probably his best collection of weapons he's had as an Arizona Cardinal against the Niners, with Harrison, with McBride, and even I keep wanting to call him James Cook, but it's James Conner in the backfield. We talked about Cardinals. We talked about some Cardinals running backs today. Edgerrin James, Chris Johnson,
Emmitt
Smith. So what does Saleh have to do? And then to transition to you, Jason, of what did you see Brandon Staley do against him to kind of hold him in Week 1?
Yeah, the simple answer is obviously contain, but that's not necessarily what it was that Brandon Staley was doing. First of all, when you're able to get into the backfield with your pass rush the way that they were, which was a little bit more of exotic stuff. Again, he borrowed a lot of stuff from Mike McDonald and, when he was with Baltimore. It's really about, first of all, making him a passer from the pocket, collapsing that pocket, but also making him read the field while getting pressure on him. If you're allowing him to sit back there and you're not getting there, then the rushing lanes open up. And that's the problem, right? So that's what the Saints were doing at points. They were very good at, was taking away the rushing lanes in the middle of the field. And if he has to bounce out of the pocket, like I'm talking about bounce back and then out, not bounce out like and just run straight. Like if he has to, if you're bending and you're bringing it to the point where he can't run straight, he's got to bounce back and get around, then your answer is D. Winters. And he's going to be the guy that they primarily put on him to watch him in rushing scenarios. We watched this Robert Saleh defense, and this is the last hurdle that I feel like he needs to climb before we just already stamp it as, hey, coordinator of the year, you guys are done. If this is going to be the guy that we've seen for 2 weeks in terms of changing game plans, understanding his personnel, this is the week where if any time that Kyler Murray's out, D. Winters has either been showing at the line, can bounce back, or is allowed to rush back. And I think I saw a little bit of it from Jesse Minter on Monday Night Football against the Raiders, right? Where they bring the linebacker, he rushes, but he kind of stands in front of the offensive lineman, and when he realizes that Gino's not going to break contain, then you go rush and you get the quarterback. But you're allowed to stand there and watch, and I think that's what they're going to use D Winters to do is we're going to show 5 and 6. We are going to blitz 5, but the one who's going to stay is D Winters, and he's got a job of either rushing the quarterback and knowing that he can get there and helping if there's too much time, or if he escapes, go after him and get the ball. I think that's the trick that they've been trying to hide, the entire week. But I don't, look, if and again, this is just a guess. If I've gotten to this point where I've really feel like this is what the game plan is going to be, it can't be, it could be way off, but it's probably not like, some huge secret. So I want them to stop like, oh, we've got something that nobody's ever seen. I feel like this is probably your best way to do it. You still keep contained. You're still putting pressure, making him step up, not giving him running lanes. But if he does get out, then you use D Winters in a way where if it's not a straight blitz on the play, then he can spy and get around. I think this is a big D Winters game in containing Kyler Murray.
What I'm curious about, and this might sound obvious, is just really keeping Kyler Murray behind the line of scrimmage.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you go back and watch the Saints game and you look at that Bucs, we talked about it last week when we were previewing the Saints, is New Orleans was credited with 5 sacks, but really they got 3 because 2 of them were plays where Kyler Murray stayed behind the line of scrimmage. One he had to run out of bounds when he slid in front of the line of scrimmage. If you can keep him behind the line of scrimmage, you can force him to make mistakes. He's prone to those types of mistakes. Mm-hmm. The issue is if he gets past that line of scrimmage, then all rules are off. I mean, he had that type of run against Carolina last week where he seemed to be dead to rights in the backfield. I think they said he ran like 70 yards to pick up 30 or something. So like Niner fans are used to it, right? We've seen it so many times of him running around behind the line of scrimmage and making things happen. Mm-hmm. It's just the key is they got to keep him behind that line of scrimmage because once he gets loose, it's done. And you can guarantee a 20-yard run or whatever it may be for him. If you can get him to run and think he sees something in the secondary and force a pass, then I feel good about Renardo Green or Diamador Lenore or Marquis Siegel making a play on the ball. But if he's going to run around in the backfield, and this is Saleh's first real test, I know Seattle's a division rival, but Sam Darnold is a very stationary quarterback. Spencer Rattler, I talked about how he can be mobile, but he's not like a mobile quarterback, but he can run. This is the first true test of you want to show us, Robert Saleh, that you've improved while you've been gone with New York and Green Bay last year. This is your first chance to stop an actual mobile quarterback because if let's talk hypothetically here, let's get really far in the future. If the Niners want to win a Super Bowl in 2025, you're probably going to have to beat Josh Allen or you're probably going to have to beat Lamar Jackson. So I didn't mention the Kansas City Chiefs or Jason Aponte.
Because they're not going to be there.
You're going to have to beat one of those 2 quarterbacks. Mm-hmm. And those are both quarterbacks that can make things happen with their feet, not just behind the line of scrimmage, but beyond it. So this is the first real test for Robert Saleh, I think, just because of Kyler Murray's mobility.
And look, some numbers here to kind of back up the flexibility. It felt like, week 1, it was all 3rd down and 4th down blitzes and everything. And then in week 2, it didn't really feel like that was going on. And here's the numbers to back that up. 15th in the league in blitz percentage for the 49ers, 29.7. But 9th in the league blitz EPA of minus 0.14. Now, when they don't blitz, they have a number 2 EPA, expected points added per play, minus 0.23. That's really good, Andrew Pasquini, and that's really more about what happened in week 2 when you see the development of Michael, when Yetur Gross-Matos is there, and I really hope he plays in this game. But here's the key, and this is it, and this is a combination of both games. Now, the second game, it wasn't nearly as much on Kyler at this point because it is Carolina, but in week 1, this is what it is. 22.7% pressures allowed, right? That's 4th in the league. Their EPA per play on offense, 0.45, 21st in the NFL. You know what, Andrew? Sometimes football's complicated. Sometimes football's a game that really makes you think, and there's a lot of moving parts. Sometimes football is not complicated at all, and it seems like make sure you keep the pressure on him, make sure you make him read the field, and make sure that you're putting him in duress the entire game. That's the real way that you can slow this down, making him a passer, making him read the field. Don't allow him to have his one read. Don't allow him to escape the pocket. Don't allow him to throw on the run, which is where he's damaging. And I don't think it's the number of runs that they need to limit. It's when he runs. Those third down, back breaking first down runs are the ones that can really, really take your soul. That's really where it's going to happen on third down. And I'm really excited to see Salah show 6, bring 4 from one side, drop 2. Who's going to be looking like all of these things are going to be the things that I've got my eyes on Sunday.
Oh, well, you mentioned Kyler Murray's first down runs. He has 9 less rush attempts than James Conner. He has just as many first down runs as James Conner. So, like, that's the type of player we're talking about. Jason, if you have D. Winters reserved on watching Kyler Murray, how are the Niners covering Trey McBride on Sunday? Because he's kind of developed into one of the best pass-catching tight ends behind Tucker Kraft, behind, Tyler Warren's been fantastic. But he's become one of the better pass-catching tight ends. So, D. Winters is reserved for Kyler Murray. Who's on Trey McBride?
It's a bracket situation. It's got to be Fred on the bottom and Marcus Siegel or Jason Pinnock on the top. You can't allow him to just be out there all one-on-one. Like, I'm really interested to see what this is going to look like. How much more of Jair Brown are we going to see? Is Jair Brown going to be tasked with kind of sticking with him closer to the line of scrimmage and not being further out? Someone has to be on the back end to help with McBride. You would think that I would be saying you have to bracket Marvin Harrison. But the 49ers are completely content with Renardo Green being out on an island by himself with anybody and taking their chances. Didn't look good early in the game against the Saints, but it did round into shape. They're still very confident in Renardo Green, but it has to be an underneath and over-the-top bracket. And now what does that mean? That means Fred Warner's got to be underneath? I don't know. Does that mean that when you're in base and you feel that, then it's going to be Jair Brown as your big nickel? I don't know. Does that mean Upton Stout and Siegel? I don't know. But it's got to be one of two. There's got to be 2 guys around him. You cannot allow him to just run routes on Jair Brown or Upton Stout or, you know what? Look, I'll even say it. Or even Fred Warner, because you need Fred Warner to be around to rush the passer, set the tone, be that edge-to-edge guy. Like, you can't have him all day looking for Trey McBride without his presence in run defense and making sure that he's committed to all those things. So it's going to be a group effort. There's no one right answer, but it has to be a bracket, and whoever's on the field, there's got to be one underneath, one on the top. Let's take him away, and I'll take my chances with Marvin Harrison on the back end and see what Renardo Green's got, because God knows nobody's throwing at Diamador Lenore these days.
Last question on the Cardinals offense before we kind of get into preview predictions here. We're going to go through every week 3 game as well. We're going to give predictions for those as well.
Love talking other teams.
A player that doesn't necessarily get much attention in terms of national spotlight, but seems like he has a good game against the Niners every time is James Conner. You can't really lose sleep on him. He has 5 career rushing touchdowns against the Niners and another receiving touchdown. Now it kind of becomes okay, well, you got to stop Kyler Murray with the run game. How do you stop James Conner? So do you see Conner having another big game here? We saw a good Niners rush defense against the Seahawks in week 1. We saw a slightly worse one against Alvin Kamara last week. Where do you see the Niners run defense against James Conner?
I actually feel good about this, and I've got some good numbers too to talk about it. So Arizona doesn't run outside zone. That's the 49ers bag. They run gap scheme. That's how they run the football, which is, closer in between the tackles and not necessarily pulling their guards out, just muscle football. But the 49ers are much better up the middle now than they are ever, right? So 42.2% of Arizona's rushes are gap scheme. That is still minus 0.12, which is not good on offense. That's 16th in the NFL. Conversely, the 49ers face gap scheme 13.5%, 22nd in the league, but they're 10th in EPA, minus 0.30. I do think that while there is that history of James Conner and what he's been able to do, that's fine, well and good. I'm far more afraid of Trey Benson at this point, just who has a little bit more juice. When you watch it on the film, he pops off, and he's the one who can actually make the big runs. Connor's the goal line back. He's still going to be a guy who the 49ers have had issues with. But considering the way the 49ers run defense has been and is trending, I'm not nearly as worried in this one about him. I'd have a hard time if you're seeing gash after gash after gash with this gap scheme, rushing attack that they have, then we've got to start having conversations about who's getting moved from the middle. So here's the thing: on base downs is Jordan Elliott, run stuffer. It's either damn it. Well, why am I going blank here? On base because I know the NASCAR package. God. Oh, Kalia Davis. Kalia Davis has been really good as well, too. So, Kalia Davis, Jordan Elliott, they've been really good. And Bosa's having an amazing year. Michael's going to set the edge. There's going to be those moments. And then again, with the run defense, you can't talk about it without Fred and Winters. And one more thing that I want to point out, nothing fits the run better than two high safety looks. The San Francisco 49ers are, let me see, let me look at, got it. Offensive identity, blitz, pass depth, where is it? Okay, passing splits. This is against the pass, but the 49ers run too high, 11%. They're 11th in the NFL. So that's going to be the way you do it. You're going to have Siegel and Pinnock come and help as well too. I think that they're more equipped with the way that Robert Sala's been pushing his defense and the personnel to actually slow Connor down. You just got to watch out for Trey Benson, who's actually been a lot more explosive than Connor to start the season.
Jason, there's the Niner Cardinal preview, everything we got thrown at you. Let's get into some predictions and previews. Let's start with the NFL as a whole in week 3. Let's talk other games. We don't do that too often here.
Yeah.
Let's start making it a habit a little bit here, Jason. Let's go through the week 3 slate. I will save the Niners Cardinals for last. Keep the people here. Oh, by the way, actually, before we do that, Tig and the Big Nickel. Jair Brown thinks he's the top 5 safety in the league, huh?
He said that?
Per Matt Barrows, let me see if I can find the exact quote. Barrows had an article where Jair Brown said he felt like he's a top 5 safety in the league. Let me find it. Jair Brown thinks he's among the NFL's top 5 safeties, but the 49ers don't view him as one of the top 2 safeties on the roster. Asked the top 2023 pick about the disconnect, a possible trade, and his move to Big Nickel. Quote, "I will be back at safety."
Well, I will say this.
And this find is only the exact quote where he says the top 5 while you talk.
I will say this, and this is only because I've actually spoken to him face to face, and
we are biased towards Jair Brown.
No, less than that. Yes, of course we're biased to him or whatever, like off the rip that he showed love, but he's always had that air of confidence, right? And I don't want to get too far into psychology, right? If you think that Tig has lost his confidence, then you don't know where he's come from. So what I mean by that is pressure is in the NFL is, that's pressure packed. Pressure in life actually puts you in a position where you laugh at pressure when you're playing football. His brother was murdered in his hometown. It's him and his mom. He takes care of his little sister. Like that type of pressure, that makes NFL pressure laughable, because of what really goes on. So confidence has never been his issue. And if you ever see him speak, you can read the vibe. His aura is like that. Now, confidence and execution don't go hand in hand. They don't go hand in hand. So when you're not executing, you're not going to get on the field no matter how confident you are. And in the NFL, you have to be borderline delusional.
Yes.
You cannot for a minute lose any sort of confidence. He felt that way coming into the league. He needs to feel that way today. Now, do I agree with him? No. But
I'd much rather him say he's a top 5 safety than a bottom 5 safety.
It's all right. Look, for instance, Tua Tagovailoa goes to the press conference and he says, "Oh my God, Josh Allen's so good, I can't do half of the thing." Bro, shut up. Shut up. What are you saying that shit for? We all know that. But if I was a Miami Dolphin fan, that would have been the last straw. And then what happens when you go out on the field on Thursday? I don't want to hear you bowing down to another man, another opponent. And I don't want to hear that Jair Brown is saying like, "Yeah, man, you know what? I fell out of favor. I suck." Bro, go walk it, talk it, please. Like, at least, like, I couldn't believe when Tua said that. I would have lost it if I was a Dolphins fan. But Jair Brown has always had that confidence going in. But confidence doesn't equate to execution.
Yeah.
And the finer details are what's going to be the reason that you stay on the field and you don't. So confidence is the easy part. Execution is the hard part. So you got a lot to do to show that you're a top 5 safety in the league. You've got a mountain to climb at this point.
Yeah.
So again, I'm happy to hear that, but I disagree.
Quote, I think most of my pro approach and humility to the situation, whatever you want to draw it up as, most of it is because I know who I am as a player. I know for sure I'm one of the best safeties in the league, top 5, if anything, in the league. Brown said via the San Francisco Chronicles Eric Branch, this has nothing to do with me moving safety. This is just me being a football player, and moving down to big nickel is a showcase of my many talents. So there's your exact quote.
And if he would have said, I'm a top 50, bottom 50 safety, everybody would be saying it's Jover. There's no real winning in this situation, right?
Like how easily you slid that in there.
Pause. Hey, I've been watching a lot of Dame Dash and Cameron lately because they've been going back and forth, and it's been a pause fest. But again, there's no winning here, because if you think that he's owning up to something that you and I believe, which is that he's working his way back into the rotation, then you say he's lost his confidence. Yeah. If he says I am a top 5 guy, then you say he's delusional. I would prefer someone be delusional, because I don't want to hear that you lost your confidence. Look, I mean, as a Miami Dolphin fan, hearing that Tua Tagovailoa is bowing down to Josh Allen, even if we know that that's true, that's when you know the game's lost, because I don't want to hear that from my quarterback. I'd rather you go up there and say, listen, I respect the guy's game. I'm ready to go. I want to compete. I want to compete on the same stage as him because I feel like I belong. Nothing wrong with saying that. But when you say, I can't do half the things that we know, dude, but you still have skill sets that you can use to try and knock him off, I would like for you to be more confident.
All right, Jason, let's get through the NFL slate here for week 3. Let's start with Green Bay versus Cleveland. Green Bay 7.5-point favorite. I'll start, Jason. If the Green Bay Packers lose this game, they are officially out as my Super Bowl champion prediction. I'm going to go Packers over the Browns.
Yes, Packers over the Browns, for sure. We're not going to do point spread. We'll just pick winners.
Indianapolis versus Tennessee. You know what? I think Indianapolis is this year's Saints. I'm going to go Tennessee in the upset.
I have Tennessee winning this game as well, too, Andrew Pasquini. I'm picking up what you're putting down in this one. I think this is a prime setup for Vegas, and they're going to get a lot of people who are really excited about the Indianapolis Colts and Daniel Jones to put money on them, and this is going to be the week that the Tennessee Titans go out there and play their best ball. I 100% agree.
Jake Browning versus Carson Wentz, the big matchup here in the NFL this week. Cincinnati Bengals at the Minnesota Vikings. Brian Flores is going to have Jake Browning in hell. I'm going to go Minnesota Vikings.
Give me the Bengals.
Okay.
You know why? You have, and that's cool, Matt, because when I'm right, I'm gonna go nuts, and so is Andrew. Because this is if you still believe
if you need to know anything about me and Jason Aponte, we'll die for the Tennessee Titans.
No. Here's the thing: is the tape is telling you something completely different than what the result is. The result is completely different. If Cam Ward I'm starting to be a believer. And I had no idea. I'm starting to be a believer. It's on film. If any of his guys start to catch passes, and if that defense could even get one stop, this one's going to get out of hand. And plus, it's a divisional game. Those games are weird.
Never know.
Yeah, you never know.
Plus your $5. Got him.
Yeah, no, but that doesn't count because it wasn't the Cardinals. What's the game we're talking about? Okay, give me the Bengals, and here's why. Yes, Brian Flores is going to do a good job defensively, but I still believe in Zach Taylor being able to construct an offense where they get it out quickly to Jamar Chase. I really expect him to be able to operate this offense. What a lot of people don't realize is that the 49ers, the Bengals, here I'm hearing the backup quarterback and I'm talking about the 49ers. The Bengals, they were able to construct an offense around Jake Browning, right? But again, not against the Brian Flores offense. The problem is that while I think the Bengals defense absolutely fucking sucks, you're down Ryan Kelly. You're down, like a bunch of offensive linemen in this game. Fine, Shamar Stewart's not going to play. Who cares? He was just going to, barely get to the quarterback and not finish. But I still think that there are massive problems up front for the Minnesota Vikings. I'm still starting Jordan Mason with confidence in this game. But I really think that Just because the Bengals defense isn't good doesn't mean that you can go out there as the Minnesota Vikings with your fourth and fifth string linemen and expect to be able to run your offense normally. I'm out on the Vikings this week. I think the Bengals win this one.
Pittsburgh in New England. I really liked Pittsburgh after week one, liked them significantly less after week two. I'm going to buy in Drake May, and big week for Stephon Diggs. Big week for Stephon Diggs. Is it four different? That's not beyond the point.
Three.
I'm going to go to three different. Sorry, my bad. Does the three include Cardi or not Cardi? Anyways, Jason,
it does include Cardi. Okay, that's three. Yeah, three.
And
three.
The Cardi album, from what I heard, pretty good. I am going to go to Patriots.
Patriots and who?
Steelers.
If the Steelers lose this game, I want all of the slander that has gone to Kyle Shanahan for whatever. Like, you better start warming up Mike Tomlin's seat, because you can't let this slide anymore, right? Yep. You got the quarterback. That's what you needed. You went. You got your unks on defense. You just keep letting Mike Tomlin slide because he's going to end up 9-7 and getting bounced in the wild card round. If that was Kyle Shanahan, you'd be calling for his head. So, yes, they got to win this game. Or I personally, which I'm not a part of the Steelers faction or Twitter, I personally am going to start the get his ass out of here and you need a new coach.
So I'm guessing you got the Steelers then.
I got the Steelers.
Perfect. Rams at Eagles. Listen, man, the Rams almost did the job when it was cold in January. Jalen Hurts is a glorified running back at quarterback with all his time to throw, but his checkdowns. I'm going to take the Rams in this one.
God damn it, me too, man. When I look at Shula and what that defense is about to do with the blitzes and everything, Braden Fist is a little banged up. I understand that. Jalen Hurts has been so bad against the blitz, like so bad. And that passing offense is anemic, right? Now, when you start to look at it, it's like, what's the difference? It's the play caller. So they've got a new play caller and someone that just isn't playing to Jalen Hurts' strength. And I do think the Rams defense is like that. What's the guy's name? Young, I think, as well too. He's been popping off on the tape as well too, man. I got the Rams, man. They're gonna be 3-0. The 49ers have to win to keep pace with the Rams, especially because it's a divisional game. But yeah, give me the Rams, man. I think they're gonna knock the Eagles off in this one.
Jets at the Buccaneers. Another injured quarterback, Tyrod Taylor, is going to be starting for the Jets. I'm feeling a little spicy, Jason. I'm feeling a little Jets. There's a lot of injuries on that Tampa front line.
Yeah,
I'm gonna take the Jets, Jets in the upset. No other reason other than just vibes. That's all.
So I know we're complaining about injuries, but my God, what's going on with with the injuries, right? Like Justin School's hurt. Charlie
Heck's wearing the creamsicles.
They are. Oh yeah.
The white. But they're the white creamsicles, correct?
I don't know. Bucks by a million.
Bucks by a million. Okay. Matt asked what vibes. Just vibes, man. Just vibes. That's all I got.
General vibes.
I just wanted to say Jets, really. So
no, we look at this. We look at our team and we're like, damn it, we're all injured, bro. Can you imagine losing Godik and losing all your interior guys, and you even lose School and Charlie Heck's playing football for your football. Like, could you imagine Charlie Heck being on your roster? It couldn't be me. By the way, shout out to 49ers legend Daniel Brunskill last night getting in there in the game. And I couldn't believe that Kirk Herbstreit was disrespecting him, saying, most of these guys have never started or have no experience. Respect Daniel Brunskill, bucko. But, give me the Bucks. I just think there's too much on offense. Baker's going to do enough. The Jets defense is going to be down. Jermaine Johnson, that really hurts them as well, too. So, like, Sauce is going to be on Mike Evans, but big Emeka Egbuka week again as well, too.
Another backup quarterback, Raiders versus Commanders. No Jaden Daniels. It sounds like it's going to be Marcus Mariota, which is a revenge
game.
I don't think Gino's going to look as bad as he did against the Chargers. Give me the Raiders. I think Ashton Jeanty has his big coming out game week 3 here.
From your mouth to my fantasy team's ears, because good God, man, I passed on Christian McCaffrey for him. This one's tough because I do agree with you with the Raiders and the Chargers, and I just love what the Chargers were able to do on defense. I think they have a top defense in the NFL. Washington, they're gonna be able to swarm them. You know what? Give me Washington. I think they're going to construct a game plan around Mariota which is going to be quick throws, big Debo Samuel game. It's going to be all those tunnel screens and those slants, and he's definitely going to take one to the crib here. I think they construct a game plan with him and Kingsbury. Quick reads, get the ball out. We're not going to ask you to do anything crazy. Get the ball to your playmakers. I really think that this is going to be just enough. It's going to be an ugly game, not a game that I want to watch, but give me Washington.
Atlanta, Carolina. I got Atlanta. No, nothing else needs to be said.
I will say this, though, about Carolina, especially at the end of that Arizona game, they showed a lot, and Ted McMillan's the real deal. I don't care if he doesn't want to be called Ted. I'm going to say what I want. You're not going to do nothing about it. But I do think that they're a work in progress, clearly. Everybody was kind of on, like the dark horse was like, hey, Bryce Young kind of turned it around after he got benched. Look, it's 2 games. They're building something clearly, but yeah, you got to give it to Atlanta. I'm not as down on Carolina as everybody is. They're just they don't have the talent. They're in a rebuild. Again, you have to build this up slowly. Slow progress better than no progress. But yeah, give me Atlanta, man. I think Atlanta. Darnell Mooney's back. I don't think that the Carolina defense presents as many problems as Minnesota. For sure, you got to give me Atlanta here.
Close the morning slate, or I guess the early afternoon slate. Oh, East Coast people. Texans, Jaguars. Feels like a must win for both of these two teams already. Mm-hmm. I'm going to go Jacksonville. I feel like Houston is in this weird, not to say the Jaguars aren't. Houston feels like they're in this really weird space. And I feel like Cohen and Lawrence are having these weird growing pains. I think this is the week they figure it out.
Nah, this is a Texans win, man. D'Amico's got to get it, and this is it. Like, if it doesn't happen now, oh man, does the drum get louder? We could be on the cusp of getting the entire band back together if D'Amico's fired midseason and so is Mike McDaniel. Like, literally, all these guys can just be consultants and just come back. We've got the whole group back together. But yeah, this has to be a Texans game. I want to see them establish some sort of run game in this game. Please protect C.J. Stroud, but they are playing for their lives here. If you go down 0-3, your season's over. So yeah, Houston in this one, I gotta go with it. I'm more worried about the hiccups in Jacksonville and what Liam Cohen is doing with Trevor Lawrence, like yelling at him, and then what he said after that game against the Bengals. Like, maybe he might not be that guy. Again, I might be overreacting to 2 weeks, but I don't like the vibes in Jacksonville right now.
Afternoon slate, Broncos at Chargers. I'm going to go Chargers. Chargers are looking good early on here. The Broncos been very iffy the first 2 games. I got the Chargers over the Broncos.
Yeah, I got the Chargers too, but the Broncos are kind of disappointing, man. Like, for all that we thought about their defense, like to get diced up like that by Daniel Jones, man. Like, I really don't get it. Obviously Greenlaw's not injured. We're not taking no victory laps about that anyway, because once a guy's gone, who cares what happens? But I do want to see him play. Hufanga's been really good actually, over there, but like, you have this defense that was supposed to just be like lights out, and you're getting diced up by Daniel Jones, man. I see another, gritty defensive game, divisional game, but like, the Broncos have been underwhelming, and a lot of that has to do with the offense and Bo Nix. Bo Nix just seems to like Troy Franklin.
Some slight breaking news here in the middle of this, Jason. Adam Schefter tweeted 45 minutes ago. 49ers now have confirmed 3 players for the flag football game in Saudi Arabia: Christian McCaffrey, George Kittle, and Fred Warner. So really, really cool the Niners are getting involved in that. Am I right? What did I just do? Saints, Seahawks, Jason. The Saints have been very competitive the first 2 games. The Seahawks have been competitive in their first 2 games. I think the Seahawks are better. I'm going to go Seattle.
Clay Kubiak revenge game. Give me Seattle. Seattle is really good, man. And everybody gave me shit, for you're drumming up controversy. Nah, man, the defensive line is really good. I think their defense is good, and they're not gonna have Nick Emanwari, Witherspoon. But Josh Jobe has been incredible, man. I think he's allowed 2 catches. He's like one of the better corners in the NFL so far this season. I still believe in Mike McDaniel. Again, it's the Saints. But Clint Kubiak revenge game, I should say. Yeah, give me the Seahawks. They're going to be 2-1 after this one.
Cowboys at Bears. The Bears stink, man. Give me the Cowboys.
Both teams stink, but yeah, the Cowboys stink less. So yeah, I guess. But this is going to be a shootout. So if I have anybody in fantasy in this game, fire them up. Fire them all up. Except for Colston Loveland. God damn it.
One of the few weekends, Jason, where you're going to catch me saying I have not been looking all day to Sunday night. The Chiefs at the Giants Sunday Night Football. I got come on, man. What are we doing? It's almost like the NFL was like, we're gonna give them 2 hard games to start, and then the Giants will just fix them. Listen.
I think the Giants are gonna play a fun game. Like they're gonna have a fun game. But yeah, there's no way the Chiefs go 0-3, right?
No.
Right? Not against them. And if you listen to Tony Pauline, if Russell Wilson loses this game, we're gonna get dart time faster than we ever wanted it.
Yeah, that's true.
A fast dart. So I mean, we probably are. I got the Chiefs winning this game. Yeah.
Need Jameis to Cincinnati, by the way.
I just don't want to watch this game because
No.
of they're gonna show Travis Kelsey's goofy ass walking up the tunnel and who's in the booth and it's just I know why you guys show the Kansas City Chiefs all the time, but I hate it. It's the same thing with the Eagles. I'm tired of watching the Eagles. It's at MetLife. I'm tired of watching the Eagles. I'm tired of watching and the Bills play every game at night now. Like it's the same teams over and over, man. Like I really don't want to watch the Chiefs play this game. I mean, it's gonna be fun because it's gonna be at the crib. Hopefully, if I get done early enough, then I can go, touch the people and go see what's up with the Giants fans around. But yeah, give me the Chiefs, man.
Monday Night Football, maybe the game of the
I like
weekend.
this one.
Lions at Ravens.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna go Ravens. I think the Ravens are the best team in football. The Lions, I think the Lions showed a little bit last week. I know it's the Bears, but anytime you can put up a 50 piece against any team, it kind of shows that the offense still has some juice to it. I'm gonna go Ravens so long as they don't get a 17-point fourth quarter lead and fall apart. I'll go Ravens.
I don't know what the hell's going on with the Ravens defense. They're at the bottom of the league of like every single metric. And, you could say in week 1, hey, it's Buffalo, but you getting torched by the Browns last week. So maybe they've got that, figured out. But this is the wrong team to try to figure it out against because that Lions offense just put up a 50 burger on Chicago and just, and what's funny is Ben Johnson's on the other side and he's looking like, damn, I don't know what the hell they're running over there. Like, dude, isn't that like kind of what you've laid as a foundation? But yeah, give me the Ravens. But I'm just really concerned with this Ravens defense right now. Again, I tweeted, if it's not this year, then when? And then they go out there and they blow the lead, and then they're giving up all these points to the Browns. It's 2 weeks, but yeah, I'll take the Ravens, man.
Jason, there are 2-0 matchups on Sunday. The Rams and Eagles being one of them. The only other 2-0 matchup. The Arizona Cardinals versus the San Francisco 49ers home openers. Niners wearing their 1994 all-white uniforms to prevent the 80-degree hot temperatures out in Santa Clara. It used to be much hotter in a couple of years. 80 degrees, not too bad. Niners 2.5-point favorites. I am going to go, shockingly, the San Francisco 49ers. I'm going to go 23-21. 49ers winning a tight one. McCorkle does just enough. The Niners defense, I think, they're going to have a really good game. I don't think Kyler is going to rush too much. I think D. Winters, as Jason Aponte told you, is going to hold Kyler to less than 50 yards rushing. We're going to feel good. Niners 23-21 going into Jacksonville next week.
28-29ers, and I think this is on the arm of Mac Jones, and Ricky Pearsall is going to have a huge game, probably one of his best since he got in the league. Maybe not 140 yards like he had against the Detroit Lions, but huge Ricky Pearsall game. Hope that Jawan Jennings goes. Even if he doesn't, then even more. I think this, on the back end, when you look at the way that the Cardinals attack you on defense with their coverage, it's cover 3, cover 4, cover 6. Cool. That's exactly what the 49ers want. They know how to beat those. They have man beaters. They have cover beaters. Zone beaters, but they're going to be able to do that. The problem is going to be up front, and I do think that the 49ers are going to use the pass to open up the run, throw the ball, push them off, and then all of a sudden you'll start to see this game, which is this close to getting off and getting in the right direction when you watch the tape and it's just a block away or it's an execution away, like it's an execution play away, or, like it's funny because KP had mentioned this on the show and I didn't know until I went back and watched it. McCaffrey has like a chance for a big run. If Sky Moore even like phantom blocks the guy in front of him, it's one of those like big long runs. So it's very close, depends on when it happens and who's on the field. But yeah, I do feel that the 49ers offense is close to breaking out. I do have them in this one, but it's going to be on the arms of Mac Jones, and I do think that Ricky Pearsall is going to have a huge game.
There it is, Jason. Another Niner preview done. We will be back. I almost said Monday, but Sunday instant reaction right after the Niners beat the Cardinals. Ideally, we'll be here on Jason Aponte's YouTube channel. So if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe. Like this video if this is your first time here. Like this video if this is your 900th time here. We do a lot of these. We will be back Sunday, probably 4:30ish. Kind of depends what time the Niner game ends.
Well, 4:30 your time. You know,
4:30 my
again,
time.
this is so, but like 7:30, whatever. Right after the game, it'll be me and Andrew. But make sure you guys are tuned in before the games kick off and we get all our inactives. 11:30 start sit show. I'm really interested to hear about the calls that I made last week and see what was good and what wasn't. Calvin really disappointed. I'm sorry for recommending him. I won't be recommending him this week against Charvarius Ward and the Indianapolis Colts. But yeah, you know, I would say that yeah, 11:30 or noon fantasy football start sit show. I always want to say start shit show. You know, but you know, whatever. It's just a slip of the tongue. And yeah, instant reaction, and then you know we go back to you know the regularly scheduled programs on Monday and everything as well too. But shout out to everybody here. Drop a like on this. Appreciate you guys hanging out for an hour. We would do underdog picks, but underdog has nothing up for the San Francisco 49ers based on the fact that we don't even know who's going to be alive on Sunday, let alone starting quarterback.
I thought you were going to go with, we don't even know who's going to play. I was going to go with the alive. I'm happy you cut the middleman out there, Jason. Great episode. We love it. Jason Aponte, as always.
Let's go Niners, man. Let's get this dub.
Let's go Niners. We love it.